It bothers me so much that this person is allowed to be out front, because I know this person's not an honest actor. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Jason Johnson. I met the guy. He's a scumbag. When I ran into him, he was doing the same thing he does on MSNBC. He was holding court in the middle in a circle of women complaining about Bernie Sanders supporters in real life. The man really, truly has a problem. He got into it last night with someone who's an actual hero. He got into it with someone that you would think he would have to respect. Of course, I'm talking about Senator Nina Turner, if you saw the clips, if you saw any of this. The thing is, you don't have to respect Senator Nina Turner because, well, she's not a part of the establishment. Dr. Jason Johnson is going to be very disrespectful in this clip, and he's allowed to be that way because he's going after a black woman who happens to be not a part of the Democratic establishment. Because if she were, people like Zerlina Maxwell and Neera Tanden and all of the View, everyone, all the women on The View, all of them would come to her defense. But since she is anti-establishment, because she is supporting Bernie Sanders' campaign, because she is the national co-chair of the Bernie Sanders 2020 campaign, Dr. Jason Johnson can condescend to her, smirk, be snide, be rude, be a complete asshole.
Close viewers watching in our last segment may have heard Bernie surrogate Nina Turner call Mayor Bloomberg an oligarch, to which our own Jason Johnson took exception. State Senator Turner from Ohio is still listening in Des Moines because she wanted a moment to respond. Nina?
Senator. Thank you so very much. You know, it's just ironic to me that somebody would defend the wealthiest people in this country over the working people of this country. We need real campaign finance reform to the extent that a Mayor Bloomberg can totally finance his campaign. He doesn't have to go out to the people. He doesn't have to build a movement. He doesn't have to talk to people. He can buy his way. It is the same attitude that the elites, maybe Jason likes the word elite over oligarch, but it's the same attitude that the elites had in 1930 against FDR. All of them lined up against him, and he said, I welcome your hatred, because he was standing up for the people. And that is the same message that Senator Bernie Sanders has to the everyday people of this nation, that I welcome the hatred of the elites because I am standing up for you. So cry me a river for the wealthy people in this country.
Nina, you work for a candidate who's part of the 1%. I have no problem with criticizing the system that allows Mike Bloomberg to make all the money that he makes, the system that allows him to buy what he wants to buy, the system that allows him to buy himself into the administration and buy himself into the debates is a problem. But to call him an oligarch, I think, is a misnomer in this environment. And again, you're working for somebody who's part of the 1%. Do you call him an oligarch? No, you don't. You say he's a rich guy. Because just because somebody has a tremendous amount of money doesn't mean that they're not necessarily representing the people. And if you want to use the term elite, you can use whatever kind of term that you want to use. But at the end of the day, the enemy of this country, the enemy of the poor, is not just everybody who happens to be rich. It is a capitalistic system that abuses people. And if you want to speak about that, that's fine. But if you want to name call people, that's not going to help Bernie if he becomes a nominee, and he's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money.
I'm not name calling anywhere.
If he's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money down the road.
It's ironic that you're defending somebody that is buying his way through the democracy. Yes, you are.
I know this
you are
works
defending
on Twitter because that's how you guys operate. But when it comes to actual campaign politics, it makes sense to actually describe people for the positions that they have.
Is this about a word? Is this about a word, Jason? Is this about a word?
No, it's not just about a word. It's about the implications of it. And it's about criticizing the system versus criticizing individuals. Like
I want to jump in real quick, and we'll come back. I'm going to play that again. I just want to point out, because Dr. Jason Johnson, he wanted very badly to come on my channel, but I knew that Dr. Jason Johnson was not going to be an honest actor, that he would come on, filibuster, and do just what he's doing right here in this video, which is lie his ass off, pretend that water ain't wet, the sky is not blue, and grass is not green, and then try to sell that and try to overtalk me on my own program. That is exactly what Dr. Jason's doing here. This whole thing started because Nina Turner had the temerity to say that Michael Bloomberg was an oligarch. We're talking about a man, Michael Bloomberg, who is buying his way into an election worth $60 billion, and we have Dr. Jason Johnson. His argument is Bernie's a 1%er, just like Michael Bloomberg. Now, if Michael Bloomberg, his $60 billion makes $2 billion. He makes $2 billion off his $60 billion every year, just on the interest alone. Michael Bloomberg has spent over $200 million. He's polling at almost 10% without being in a single debate, without getting a single donation from a single voter of any sort, just from digital and TV ads and Super Bowl ads. If you don't consider that person as a oligarch, an elitist, as someone buying our elections, what would you consider it? Dr. Jason Johnson is not an honest actor. He never has been. And then he's so hypocritical and such a scumbag. Guys, he's a complete scumbag. He's comparing Bernie Sanders, who became a millionaire in 2016 after writing a book. First time in his life. One of the least wealthy congresspeople in America. He compares that person to Michael Bloomberg. Lumps Bernie Sanders with Michael Bloomberg. Well, you know what, Dr. Jason Johnson? My youngest son is 10 years old. He's about to turn 11 tomorrow. He played Little League football, Pee Wee squad, Pee Wee football. He played it for 1 year. Sort of lost interest and went on to basketball. If Bernie Sanders is considered a one percenter, if he's considered an oligarch and in the same counting as Michael Bloomberg, then my son, who played Pee Wee football for one semester or one season, should be considered in the same realm as an all-pro player in the NFL. I mean, they both play football, right? But see, no one would make that argument except an inconsiderate, disingenuous hack like Dr. Jason Johnson. And this is the reason why we can't have unity. I don't want to unify with Dr. Jason Johnson. I don't want to share air with him, nevertheless a stage or a party of any sort. He is a scumbag. He's horrific. Dr. Jason Johnson is proof that Republicans aren't that bad. Yeah, he's proof that the core, the real problem that we have in this country is the gooey middle. The neoliberal, establishment, moderate Democrats, and particularly black ones like Dr. Jason Johnson, who give the veneer. They wear the clothing of revolution. This is the reason why I do my shows the way I do them. It's the reason why I do my best to speak truth to power. You may disagree with me on points or about how I feel about your particular candidate, but I'm never being paid to be a scumbag. I'm never being paid to lie to you. Dr. Jason Johnson is a horrible individual for a lot of reasons, some of which I don't know because I don't know him personally, other than the first time I met him. But I can tell you this argument is dog shit. And I'm sorry, guys, because I know a lot of you at work, but I want you to know this argument is dog shit. I'm going to search for harsher words to use without them being profanity. But damn it, guys, this is one of the worst arguments I've ever heard anyone make. And everyone in that room, from Chris Matthews to the lady smiling the whole time, whoever she is, are all complicit and also backstabbers to the working people of this country who know that campaign finance reform is a real thing that needs to happen. And any candidate that can come in, buy their way on the debate stage, steamroll the process, get a special consideration, and be allowed to get on the debate stage to dump $200 million and never take a single donation, not have to meet the same criteria as the other candidates who participated, some of which have had to drop out because they could not make these thresholds, some who were never really in it, able to compete like Mike Gravel. This is a travesty. I want to play this one more time. Thank you for bearing with me. I had to say something. I couldn't just sit through, listen to Dr. Jason Johnson be his disingenuous scumbag self.
Close viewers watching in our last segment may have heard Bernie surrogate Nina Turner call Mayor Bloomberg an oligarch, to which our own Jason Johnson took exception. State Senator Turner from Ohio is still listening in Des Moines because she wanted a moment to respond. Nina?
Senator.
Thank you so very much. You know, it's just ironic to me that somebody would defend the wealthiest people in this country over the working people of this country. We need real campaign finance reform to the extent that a Mayor Bloomberg can totally finance his campaign. He doesn't have to go out to the people. He doesn't have to build a movement. He doesn't have to talk to people. He can buy his way. It is the same attitude that the elites, maybe Jason likes the word elite over oligarch, but it's the same attitude that the elites had in 1930 against FDR. All of them lined up against him, and he said, I welcome your hatred, because he was standing up for the people. And that is the same message that Senator Bernie Sanders has to the everyday people of this nation, that I welcome the hatred of the elites because I am standing up for you. So cry me a river for the wealthy people in this country.
I mean, you work for a candidate who's part of the 1%. I have no problem with criticizing the system. The system that allows Mike Bloomberg to make all the money that he makes, the system that allows him to buy what he wants to buy, the system that allows him to buy himself into the administration and buy himself into the debates is a problem. But to call him an oligarch, I think, is a misnomer in this environment. And again, you're working for somebody who's part of the 1%. Do you call him an oligarch? No, you don't. You say he's a rich guy. Because just because somebody has a tremendous amount of money doesn't mean that they're not necessarily representing the people. And if you want to use the term elite, you can use whatever kind of term that you want to use. But at the end of the day, the enemy of this country, the enemy of the poor, is not just everybody who happens to be rich. It is a capitalistic system that abuses people. And if you want to speak about that, that's fine. But if you want to name call people, that's not going to help Bernie if he becomes a nominee, and he's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money.
I'm not name calling anywhere.
If he's going to need Mike Bloomberg's money down the road.
It's ironic that you're defending somebody that is buying his way through the democracy. Yes, you are.
I know this
you are
works on
defending
Twitter
him
because that's how you guys operate. But when it comes to actual campaign politics, it makes sense to actually describe people for the positions that they have.
Is this about a word? Is this about a word, Jason? Is this about a word?
No, it's not just about a word. It's about the implications of it. And it's about criticizing the system versus criticizing individuals. Like I said, I wouldn't call Bernie Sanders an oligarch, and he happens to be part of the 1%. I would say he's somebody who's wealthy, but who's dedicated himself to trying to uplift people who are poor.
He just got there at the age of 78 years old.
Okay, let me end this. I just want to bring, because I do like this debate, because it's a debate, and I like debates. Number two, do you want to change your words from oligarch?
No, I'm not changing. He doesn't tell me what to say and how to change my words. My words stand.
Well, Brian, it's back to you. I think that's the decisive conclusion of this back and forth. Your thoughts?
Can I say something about Jason Johnson? Jason Johnson, a frequent guest on my show. I think this is a really important debate, and I'm really glad you didn't let it get boiled down to the use of a word. It is not about a word. Here's the other enemy, and I understand different views about the system. Mm-hmm. The enemy is the guy in the Oval Office who thinks there were good people on both sides of Charlottesville. Yes. The enemy is a guy in the Oval Office who just got a permission slip to cheat in presidential elections. Yes. The enemy is a guy who called his generals dopes and losers who he didn't want to go into battle with. That is the enemy. And I am nauseous when I see Democrats fight amongst themselves. And I know that Republicans get no say.
I wish she would shut all the way up. All the way up. She said the enemy is the guy in the Oval Office. Donald Trump is a lot of things, but the enemy in this is not just a singular individual. It is money in politics. Money in politics is the reason why we don't have Medicare for all, lady. Money in politics is the reason why the NRA gets to run roughshod over folks who are concerned about safety, or the reason why pharmaceuticals cost so much in the United States compared to other countries. Money in politics is the reason why we keep going to war when we could just stay our asses home and mind our own business and stop pushing our will across the globe. Money in politics, the amount of money, people on the dole, people taking money, campaign finance reform, people needing money to run for office, which puts them at the beck and call of oligarchs and corporations and special interests. This is the problem in this country. It's not just a political ideology problem. Those things can be worked out. Most people agree on most issues. Regardless to where you are on the political landscape, most people want to end the wars. Why can't we end them? Money in politics, money that's been generated. Most people want health care. Why can't we have it? Why do some of the other countries have universal health care to some extent, but we do not? money in politics is the reason for that. So this is a horrible a wrap-up of whatever she called herself doing. I don't know, her retort or her response to make it about Charlottesville. Why do they get to throw out that? Oh, my God. Trump said Charlottesville, bad people on both sides. You know what? There are a lot of problems in this country. They existed well before Donald Trump became president. And they definitely extend beyond Donald Trump making a stupid comment that you have taken and run with for the last 4 years. The actual people that live in places where we're experiencing racial bigotry or where we're experiencing discrimination in their lives, their last concern, or definitely not their top concerns, is what Donald Trump is saying. No, it's the actual bigotry. It's the actual discrimination. It's the actual glass ceiling. It's the actual over-policing. It's the actual mass incarceration. It's the actual poverty. It's the actual fact that people are not getting the same opportunities and access to those opportunities as some others based on nothing other than the color of their skin or their orientation or their gender. These are the real problems. It's definitely not Donald Trump's statement or phraseology about an event that happened 4 or 5 years ago. The fact that you would say that shit, the fact that she gets to say that, the fact that we have to listen to her, the fact that you want to boil this all down to, we need to focus on the guy who said that. No, you know what? That's some stupid shit. We need to focus on a lot of things. One of them being, first, I would submit, is getting money out of politics. But back to Dr. Jason Johnson. Remember, guys, all of this started because Dr. Jason Johnson took offense. He took offense. Not to what his colleague just said about the most existential threat is Donald Trump using Charlottesville to say both sides. No, he didn't take offense to that. He seemed just fine with that as he nodded about. He took offense to Michael Bloomberg, the man worth over $60 billion, being called an oligarch. Well, Dr. Jason Johnson, the term of an oligarch, there are several terms for oligarchs. One of them is a ruler, a very rich business person with a great deal of political influence. Bernie Sanders has political influence because he's a senator and the most popular politician in the country. The most popular senator and the most popular politician in the country with the highest favorability ratings of any politician. Michael Bloomberg is powerful, not because he holds some political position. He holds no political position. The only power that Michael Bloomberg has is his money. His money makes him powerful. Now, if that's not the description of what an oligarch is, what would you say is the description of an oligarch? But you wouldn't want to disparage anyone, would you? You disparage Bernie supporters every day, Dr. Jason Johnson. That's what you do. You, Zelina Maxwell, Neera Tanden. This is what you do every day. If you're not disparaging Bernie Sanders supporters, you're disparaging Yang supporters. This is how you maintain momentum. So he talks about what Bernie Sanders supporters do on Twitter, very conveniently omitting what he does on Twitter. He's a gaslighter with false narratives, and he throws them willy-nilly to maintain some type of visibility. So these are all facts, ladies and gentlemen. Take them to the bank. Michael Bloomberg, I don't know if he doesn't fit the criteria for someone. I mean, he's literally spent $200 million of his own money. They're literally letting him in the debates after not passing the criteria that every other candidate had to pass. And then we say, well, only a very rich, powerful person could do that. And then Dr. Jason, the scumbag, backstabber, and sellout. I'm offended that you called him an oligarch. He's not offended about the obscene amount of money that Michael Bloomberg is able to dump into this primary to further corrupt it. He's not offended by that. But he's offended because you labeled Mike Bloomberg. I wish that Dr. Jason Johnson and people of his ilk would fight for us as much as he fights for the rich folks. Man, maybe we'd actually be somewhere. You know, maybe we'd actually be able to fight the system if we had people like Dr. Jason Johnson, instead of focusing on kissing the ass of the elites so they can get a little bit more butter on their biscuits. if we actually turned their fire onto the elites and took it at them. But see, Dr. Jason Johnson knows it don't pay well to be a freedom fighter. It don't pay well to be a truth teller. Now, the money is in lying, conniving, and doing whatever the rich folks want you to do. That's the job security. And that's exactly what he's doing.